Am I the asshole for marrying my sister's baby daddy? I, 36-year-old female, and my sister, 29 female, got pregnant when she was 18 years old. I am infertile and knew I couldn't have kids, so when my sister said she was giving her baby up for adoption, I decided to be her mom. My sister went no contact 5 months after giving birth. For a bit of background, my sister got pregnant by a one-night stand, and she apparently didn't remember or know the father at the time of birth, but when my daughter V was born, a man T, 35, messaged me on social media claiming to be the father of my child. My sister had run into him at a club and drunkenly confessed to the pregnancy. We met up, he bonded with his daughter, and well, that man is now my husband of 7 years. Coming back to my sister, she called me yesterday. Although I was surprised at her call, I picked up. We made some small talk, and then she said she had just gotten married a year back and both of them wanted children but couldn't because her husband was infertile but really wanted kids. I asked her if she wanted to adopt, and she said no, she just wanted her baby back. I was speechless for a few moments before replying that if she wants to meet my child as an aunt, she is welcome to, and we can both sit V down and explain the reason for her absence, but she can't just ask me to give up my child. My sister said she'll sue me as she is the birth mother. I told her she was out of her mind, and then I told her how I married the baby daddy, T. She exploded, calling me names and saying I stole her life. My husband came home from work, and when I explained to him, he was beyond furious. I then got a call from my parents saying I was an asshole for telling my sister she's not allowed to see her baby. I never said that, and I welcomed her to bond with V, but they refused to listen and said I was being insensitive and harsh and flaunting my family. I now feel bad because my sister and I were very close growing up, and I feel quite close to her situation since I know the struggles of infertility. My husband said there was no way he was letting my sister have full time alone with V, and I agree, but I want to know if I'm the asshole for being too harsh and telling her about T. Am I the asshole for making my brother leave after he brought his kids to my child-free wedding? My wife and I got married days ago. We decided the wedding will be child-free. We thought this was the best option considering several factors from budget to keeping the order, etc. Everyone got an invitation, but my biggest concern was how my brother Ramsey, 36, was going to react. Ramsey married young and has 4 kids that he takes everywhere he and his wife goes. They're always there at every family event. The kids are grade A hyperactive to say the least. I gave Ramsey the invitation in person, and he read it out loud in a sarcastic tone and then said, "Child-free, huh?" I nodded, and he got somewhat mad saying, "Are you serious? But my children have never been excluded from any big or small event, let alone their own uncle's wedding." I said sorry, but it's already been decided and everyone had to follow the rules, not just him. He started off for a minute, and then to my surprise he said, "I totally get it, man. No children means no children. No worries." I was glad he didn't start an argument over it and seemed to accept the rule. The day of the wedding came, and Ramsey and his wife didn't show up until shortly before the ceremony began. My best man noticed that Ramsey had arrived and had all his kids with him. I was legit mad, and I went to meet him at the entrance and saw he brought all his kids against me and my wife's wishes. I greeted the kids and asked my sister-in-law to take them back to the car. He loudly asked what the F was wrong with me. I asked why he brought his kids and who said it was okay. He said no one, but he was planning on bringing the kids all along and figured that by initially agreeing to my rule, then showing up with the kids anyway would get me to agree on letting them stay. I stated this was no event for kids for many reasons and that everyone respected the rule except him. He complained about me disrespecting him and his kids since, again, he never attends any event without them. In his words, "Wherever I go, my kids follow, period." I told him he needed to leave then. Not only did he call me a lunatic, but a terrible brother and terrible uncle. He also called me a simp for agreeing to his wife's stupid rule, saying that if it was him and his wife even hinted he couldn't have his family's kids at their wedding, he would have dropped her right there and then. It was humiliating and loud enough for the guests to notice. My in-laws did too. I told him to leave, and that's when my mom and aunt tried to convince me to let it go and let them stay, but I refused and had him leave after a massive argument between us. To say that I felt absolutely shitty is an understatement. Everyone gave me grief ever since that incident and are siding with Ramsey, saying I wronged him and acted cold towards him and his kids when they showed up to celebrate me and my wife. My dad is especially pissed at me for potentially permanently effing up my relationship with Ramsey, his wife and kids by kicking them out of my wedding. He quoted Ramsey won't ever forget this day. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for helping my friend catch her boyfriend cheating? I, 27 female, and my friend Abby, 26 female, have known each other for our whole lives. Abby and her boyfriend Tony, 29 male, have been together for 3 years. Everything seemed to be going well between them, but over the last few months, things have started to go downhill. Abby has been telling me for months now that she is certain Tony has been cheating on her. However, she has no evidence, she just has a gut feeling that won't go away. After stressing out over it for months, she finally decided that she had to catch him in the act. A month ago, Abby came over to my house and told me that she had a huge favor to ask me. She told me that she knew I was Tony's type and he would go bonkers if I were to hit on him. She told me that she wanted me to accidentally bump into him at different places that he would go to. She would tell me in advance where he would be and what time he would be there. She then told me to gradually become more flirty over text and call in order to make it appear more real. I was hesitant at first, but Abby was crying and begging me to do this. She had to know the truth. I eventually gave in and went forward with the plan a couple of days later. To make a long story short, Tony fell for my fake advances almost immediately. Within the first week, he was saying how hot I was and how he's had a crush on me and that he wanted to hang out. The final nail in the coffin that confirmed everything all took place yesterday. We made plans to meet at an obscure motel with the intention of hooking up. Abby went to the motel before me and Tony in order to catch him red-handed. After me and Tony arrived, he gave me a hug and started making out with me. Abby jumped out of hiding and started screaming at him that they were over. She exposed him all over social media, which resulted in him getting trashed by most of their friends. Abby thanks me and says she finally got the closure that she needed. However, a few people are saying that what I did was tacky and immature. They're saying I should have stayed out of the relationship entirely. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to let my family meet my daughter after all of them dropped out of my wedding upon finding out my wife was pregnant? I come from a conservative Christian family. All my family members were/are involved in the church and have church-based jobs. When they met my wife, they loved her and embraced her as their own. We dated for 2 years and discovered she was pregnant after we got engaged. Invitations were already given at the time, and we decided to still have the wedding on the date when my wife was 5 months in. My family was furious when they found out my wife was pregnant. They asked if we were even still considering having a wedding. I said why not, but they were very upset, especially my mom and dad, who said that they've always been known for their decency and good Christian values, and they weren't willing to let this stain their reputation, as in my wife and I getting married while pregnant. They officially dropped out and refused to negotiate, saying it was done and I have only myself to blame for this outcome and should have moved the wedding to out of town. I was hurt and I tried to change their minds and checked with other members, but my brother said he had no intentions to look like a joke in front of his fellow church members and dropped out too. My aunt pretended to be sick and said she may not be able to make it. She's 100% healthy. My cousin said he had a business trip and stopped his wife and kids from attending, and my uncle cussed me out, tore up the invitation, and kicked me out. I felt terrible with no family members of my own to support me and share my joy at my wedding. I even broke down crying after the ceremony. I haven't spoken to them for months and then got busy with my 4-week-old daughter. My cousin reached out to hand me gifts and well wishes for the birth of my daughter sent from my family. I returned everything. He sat with me on behalf of my family and said I shouldn't have returned the gifts and that they were from my family who want to see and hopefully be involved in my daughter's life. He said my mom's longing to meet her grandbaby and everyone else is wanting to visit soon to celebrate my daughter's life. I said, wasn't my daughter the reason why the entire lot of them abandoned my wedding? My daughter at some point will ask about the wedding and I have no intentions on lying to her. He just started stuttering as I went on about how they treated my daughter as someone to be ashamed of and hide. He replied saying he guaranteed I got it all wrong and no matter what goes down between us, I can never deny that my daughter is their granddaughter/niece, etc., and that they're family. He asked that I arrange for them to visit, but I refused. My wife says I should let them come, but I still refuse. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for making my boyfriend rehome his German Shepherd? Me and my boyfriend have been together since we were in university. We're both 23 and recently moved in together. We both went to our local university, so we both lived at home so we'd be able to save money. Around a year after we started dating, my boyfriend got a German Shepherd puppy. I've never been a fan of German Shepherds, but I'm a dog lover, so I wasn't going to tell him not to get one when we weren't even living together yet. When we moved in, my dislike of German Shepherd was confirmed. The dog leaves hair all over the place, barks whenever someone walks by our house, needs extreme amounts of exercise. I could go on for hours. However, I was willing to put up with it since my boyfriend had otherwise trained him well. I now realize how stupid that was since the dog breed seems to have problems regardless of how well it's trained. I recently got a Rottweiler puppy and to say that I formed a bond with him would be an understatement. The German Shepherd, on the other hand, didn't take too kindly to the puppy and would have made its disdain for the dog known. Me and my boyfriend took the dog to the vet to see where the issue could come from, and she told us that some German Shepherds just don't get along with other dogs. My boyfriend suggested that we may have to rehome my puppy due to his puppy's disdain of him, and he could still find a good home since he was only 5 months. The thought of rehoming something I loved for a dog I couldn't stand mortified me, and to think that the only reason for rehoming him would be because of another dog's nasty behavior didn't make the situation any better. I told my boyfriend that there was no way I was rehoming my puppy and that I'd be willing to move out if need be. After days of arguing, my boyfriend took the dog to the local shelter. The house has been much quieter since, and I can honestly say it was one of the best decisions I ever made. My sister, on the other hand, didn't hold this sentiment and actually referred to me as an evil bitch for putting my boyfriend in this position. So it got me thinking, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for trying to prove if someone's boobs are fake? One of my 30 female close friends, male 30, went on a date with this girl. The next day, we all went to the gym and he was raving about her body, especially her chest. I took one good look at her and proceeded to tell my friend that her boobs were most